Hello retro gamers and nostalgia fiends alike, and welcome to another review for Retro Gamer. Today we're back onto the Super Nintendo, checking out Wings 2 Aces High, released in 1992 by Malibu Interactive. This is also known as Blazing Skies in Europe, and all the other awesome places who tolerate PAL and its shitty 50Hz. Interestingly enough, this game is the sequel to the 1990 Amiga release, Wings. If going from the Amiga to the SNES is too weird for you though, the original Wings is also available on the Game Boy Advance. But of course it's been renamed to Wings Advanced. Originality is dead.
I don't want to keep jumping between referring to this as Wings 2 Aces High and Blazing Skies for the whole video, so from now on I'll just say it as Blazing Skies because it's shorter and sounds more badass. Blazing Skies is quite a cool war-playing game that utilises Mode 7, but what really stands out about this game to me is the fact that it's based in World War I, as opposed to World War II, which usually takes the gaming spotlight between the two wars. I guess this makes a little bit of sense though. I don't consider myself highly knowledgeable about the two wars, but World War II had more automatic guns and whatnot, which is what noobs can only seem to play with these days instead of one-shot rifles and so on. I'm getting a bit off track here, but controlling some of the earliest planes known for warfare definitely has its own appeal. There is a bunch load of missions, but they're split into 3 different categories with different gameplay mechanics. The first one you'll probably play is the standard dogfight mode. Mode 7 really shines here as you fly through the pseudo 3D environments and shoot at enemies. The best thing is that there's unlimited ammo, so there's no worrying about pickups and no need to really think about when and when not to shoot. The crappy thing is though, is that the aiming is quite inaccurate, so having unlimited bullets is kind of necessary. There's no aiming reticle, and you're locked into a third-person view which blocks what's in front of you. It's not too hard to determine when to shoot, but it can be a bit of a guessing game sometimes. Luckily though, the enemies don't take too long to shoot down if you get in a good shot, but you better hope you don't lose them. The huge environments, coupled in with the plane's incredibly slow turning circles, can sometimes lead to the opponents just disappearing. The levels will eventually end if you fly around aimlessly for too long, but with no restart option it can get really frustrating. You can't just end it all by crashing either, but I'll get to why in a minute. Otherwise, in this game mode I found the controls and physics to be quite playable. Supposedly the developers purposely try to make it as realistic as possible, and it shows. There's no way you could do a loop-de-loop without stalling it, although you can easily pull off barrel rolls. However, I think that's a good bar of quality to define how playable the planes are. The second type of mission is set from a bird's eye view. At the start you're briefed with what building needs to be wiped off the map, and then you must find it within the mission and bomb it. At the same time you'll have mortars to dodge, and if you miss your target you'll get threatened by some macho man with probable daddy issues, but then you'll get your chance to restart. These missions are quite simple and probably the easiest. The only thing worth noting is the physics as you fly. Turning left won't result in you just going left, but it sort of edges you in that direction with the wind until you correct it. It's kind of hard to explain with my limited vocabulary of physics and well, just my plain ignorance of knowledge to the subject. But yeah, I feel that controlling the plane feels quite realistic, and that's all I'm really trying to say. The physics feel great. Yes, science. The third and final mode is easily the one I hated the most. These missions use Mode 7 as well, and have you destroying trucks or tanks as they drive across the countryside. These suck mostly because of the early 90s draw distance, as the vehicles you're supposed to be annihilating come out of nowhere. You don't really have much of a chance to line it up correctly in time to take them out, so these missions will mostly only be beaten with trial and error. Over that, it's set out so your plane is gradually lowering so the bullets will hit the ground, as opposed to the game being programmed so you can fly straight ahead but shoot downwards. This can lead to you losing control too close to the ground as you frantically try to move in the right direction. This would be okay if dying wasn't such a big deal, but it is, and here's why. Blazing Skies has quite a different, if somewhat morbidly realistic life system. You're given the choice of a few strapping young lads to take up in the sky, but if you manage to kill them then that's it. You're given a memorial screen after that, and then you'll have to choose another character. You only get one chance to die, which can lead to playing levels quite conservatively so you can restart and not lose a character. Once all the characters are dead, then it's game over. Well done, you've killed off an entire army. The good news is the password saves. I used to hate these as a kid, but now you can just take a photo of your phone and you don't have to write down squat. Yes, smartphones. These passwords aren't entirely convenient to re-enter all the time though, as it requires you to reset your SNES, and that's a pain in the holiest of holies. Each time you successfully complete a level though, you do earn points that can be added to the character's stats. So really, it will always be a situation of figuring out if it's worth losing the character or not if they're fully decked out. Then again though, it's debatable if these added stats actually add anything to the game. I personally didn't feel anything different when playing, so who knows. It only takes a few levels to completely max them out. Overall, this game is presented quite well. The Mode 7 is used nicely, ensuring flying around the levels is a joy, even if the shooting system is a bit flawed. The sprites are detailed, and the menus are quite nice looking. Everything is supported by some classy ass horns for the music, really making sure this game captures the time and spirit of the years throughout the First World War correctly. That's important, since even now there aren't too many games set in that period.
As you progress, the levels get gradually harder. There are more things to bomb, more opponents to simultaneously take out in the dogfights, but at the end of the day, the objectives in the levels never change. This can get boring after a while as you're effectively doing the same thing over and over. Some may like to hone out their skills and welcome the changed difficulty as the only change, but it's just not for me unfortunately. I just got bored. Otherwise it does have its problems, but for the most part, really before I got bored, I did enjoy this game. It presents the period well, and it's seriously nice to play a game based in World War I for once.
Hello viewers, and like always, thanks for watching. Awesome people actually participated in the question of the day in the Steel Rain video, so let's try another one today. What's your favourite video game that incorporates World War I? The whole game doesn't need to be about it, as I know there aren't too many out there, so even if it's just a section of the game, then that's totally fine. My personal favourite is the Hell levels in the Darkness, where Jackie Estacado searches through a warped version of World War I to find out how his great-great-grandfather acquired the Darkness. Cool game. Probably nearly old enough to review here in a few years. Maybe. Anyway, thanks again for watching, subscribe if you wanna, and I'll catch you next time.